And welcome back to Capital Tonight. I'm Sean Flynn in for Tim Boyum. It's Tuesday and time to turn our insiders for their take on the issues of the week. This week, we're joined by Democratic strategist Dan McCorkle and Republican consultant Andy Yates. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. Let's start about what is the talk of the day, which is making national blogs and websites. A 2012 interview with Speaker of the House Thom Tillis, where he's asked about why Hispanic voters aren't supporting Republican policies. It's from the Carolina Business Review. Let's listen to it.
Well, I think it has more to do with what's going on in the demographics of this country and recognizing that, and then having a platform and a message that resonates. You know, if you take a look, you mentioned the Hispanic population, the African American population. There's a number of things that our party stands for that they embrace. I think we have to do a better job of communicating it. I think we have to do a better job of being out there in between elections, garnering support for the things that we're trying to advance. And I think we need a focus on limited government and free markets, which is something that's appealing to everybody. That kind of work will position us for those growing sectors. You know, the traditional population in North Carolina and in the United States is more or less stable. It's not growing. The African American population is roughly growing, but the Hispanic population and the other immigrant populations are growing in significant numbers. We've got to resonate with those future voters.
Now, the issue is with the use of his word traditional. A campaign spokesman says Tillis was referring to North Carolinians who have been here for generations. Dan, I know you're probably chomping at the bit at this. Well, I mean, what do you think of how he said it?
My family's been here since 1735, so I guess I'm traditional. But what he's doing, he is showing that he is fearful of a large and growing section of the North Carolina population, African Americans and Hispanics. Of course, they're also Democratic voters. But what it reminds me of is exactly like Mitt Romney, 47% speech. I mean, I guess Tillis is like Mitt Romney without the big, bold personality or the working class credentials, but still it's the same idea. How are the Republicans going to survive? Not just 2014, but long term if they continue to discount the fastest growing segments of the population.
Well, we're going to get more into that, but Andy, let's talk about what he said here. Is this another slip of the tongue here, or do you buy what he's trying to say?
I think it's a slip of the tongue. I think it's a slip of the tongue, but it's a slip of the tongue that's been misconstrued. I think he's more talking about the typical Republican voter base is not growing, and it's not. Republicans have identified that as a problem. The basic population that votes Republican in North Carolina and nationally is white voters. I mean, that's reality. We get a certain percentage of Hispanics. President George W. Bush got a significant percentage. Since then, we've gotten less. But I think Tillis was trying to recognize a problem, maybe misspoke. But this goes more to what goes on in the campaigns. It's what Dan and I get paid to do. We go back and look at these people, things they've said, grab something and make a controversy out of it. This, to me, happened in 2012. This is instant controversy. Find a statement, pour water on it, watch it grow, and now we're all talking about it on Capitol Tonight.
Well, let's take a closer look at some of those census numbers that you're issuing. From the most recent numbers, the white population is in decline in terms of percentages. African Americans, they're pretty much flat over the last decade. But Hispanic, that population's nearly doubled here in North Carolina. Does the Republican Party have a problem selling its brand? Dan?
Oh, they must. Remember, the George Bush #1 and to some extent early on George Bush #2, we're working very hard to get Latino voters, Hispanic voters, on their side. In fact, go back a number of years and the Latin American, Latino, Hispanic population was pretty much split down the middle. In some sections, like the Cubans in Florida, were very Republican. Now we saw with Obama winning over 70% of the vote in that demographic. That's rather remarkable. That is the fastest growing segment of our population. The Republican Party tries, but is not doing anything to attract those voters. In fact, it's doing more and more to disenfranchise those voters. Long term, it's bad for them.
Andy, the Hispanic population, a large percentage of it, are Catholic and they are religious. Why the Republican Party tends to attract more of those voters? What's going on? Why is there the disconnect?
I think we've got to move past as Republicans the whole illegal immigration, amnesty, whatever you want to call it issue, because there's a significant percentage of the Hispanic population that I think identifies with Republicans on core beliefs. They're socially conservative. They want less taxes. They want to be able to advance. They came here for economic opportunity. They came here for upward mobility, things the Republican Party embraces. But if we can't move past this immigration issue, we're going to have a tough time. We've got some great Hispanic Republicans moving up through the ranks, people like Governor Susana Martinez in New Mexico. We need to get them out there more as the face of the party, let them explain why they're Republicans, but we've also got to move past this immigration issue. It's just a divisive issue. We've got to come up with a solution. It's bad for the country that we're not moving past
And
it.
it got rid of Cantor, probably. It was one of the many issues that got rid of Cantor last week.
You know, I think the interesting thing, though, Dan, I think that's been overblown actually a little bit in that race. There was some exit polling out where 72% of the voters, including the majority of the folks that voted for Brat, favored immigration reform. I think there was more going on with Cantor than just illegal immigration. It gave Brat a base, but I think you've got to go past that.
He had bad pollsters.
He had terrible
I know you
polls.
guys